Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back to What's Lost Got to Do with It. It's Hannah Conda, and I'm thrilled to be back with another delicious and gorgeous episode. It's been a while since I've recorded one, so I'm very excited to be back in my little studio here at home. I'm in the drag room, and I've got a beautiful guest today who another down under diva, down under royalty, and I'm very, very excited for you to meet my guest today. I've just actually left a play, went and saw a play called The Inheritance in Sydney. If you get a chance, it's a beautiful like story about gay men in in the States, and it covers a lot of topics, and it covers generations, and it's the inheritance, like not to I don't want to spoil anything, but the inheritance in its broad scope and what it means as an inheritance is the things that have obviously been passed down to us, and it's just a fascinating exploration of our queer community and the things that are passed on from generation to generation as queer people. And it had me emotional. It was a roller coaster, and it's got me thinking. And I am, yeah, I'm in a place of being, pensive with my thoughts, and being grateful for those that have come before us in our queer community, have paved the way and came through things like, us just not having any kind of human rights, and just being completely and utterly othered, and being murdered for who we are. But then, going right up and exploring through the AIDS epidemic of the 80s and how that affected us, and the things that is inherited generationally as queer people. So it's a very interesting story, but I cannot wait to dive deep into the pod today and let out these feelings, because I love talking about fabulous things, and my guest is just arriving, and I'm so excited that I get to welcome a beautiful sister of mine, an absolutely gorgeous diva from Drag Race Down Under, from my season, in fact. And I've worked with this person for a very, very long time, and I'm very honored to have and welcome to the podcast the one, the only, the diva, the legend, the superstar, Minnie Cooper. There you're on. I can hear
I'm on.
you.
I'm
Minnie
always on,
Cooper.
Hannah.
Oh, Coops, you look beautiful.
Why, thank you. A little bit of effort for a bingo.
I know. I should have put
This
it.
is,
I feel like I'm not wearing enough makeup now.
oh, well, you don't need it. You've got those lips.
Thank you. Thank you. They do a lot of work for me. Oh, Minnie Cooper, welcome to What's Lost Got to Do with It. Thrilled to have you on the pod.
Thank you
Um,
for having me.
oh no, it's my pleasure. I love your blurry background too. You look like a living filter today.
Well, I wish I could blur my face like I'm blurring the background, if I'm perfectly honest. That season one filter that every drag queen loves. Don't
Yeah, the
deny
Vaseline.
it.
Yeah, Vaseline on the lens. It's the
Oh,
only way to do
absolutely.
drag.
I've only got lube.
Smother it on. Why not? It makes it go down easy. So it's exciting to have Minnie here. So for those of you that don't know, Minnie Cooper was on season 2 of Drag Race Down Under with myself, and you were just one of those fabulous figures that, brought up so many questions. You were unafraid and unapologetic to say everything that comes to you. And that's the Minnie I know. That's the Minnie who I've always known and loved. That's just you.
Funny
I'm
that you say
ex
that, Hannah. It was something I discovered about myself from doing the show, was
Mm.
being a person that would always just express how they felt in a moment, regardless of the consequence. And people don't do that, I realize.
Yeah.
Not many people do that. They think, I obviously don't think before I respond.
Oh, but I think sometimes, like, I think we could all take a little bit of a leaf out of that book, though, because, I think sometimes when you think too much about how you respond, sometimes you talk yourself out of actually expressing how you feel authentically.
Well, that's actually a really good point, to be perfectly honest, because, let it be known to the world that Pamara and I have finally made up after all this time.
I know. Yeah. I saw Pamara last night actually, and we were talking about how like she's just happy that you've the growth you guys have made, and what pathways you've forged.
And it was interesting chatting to Pamara when we eventually spoke, and she wasn't ready for it. But exactly what we're talking about, she wasn't able to express herself in that moment, actually how she felt. So
Yeah,
that was a big part of the problem.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I was part of that problem. I'm not saying,
Oh,
because
it's like, but I
that's
think you
sorry.
own that. No, no, I was just gonna say you own those things. Like you're unafraid to.
And that's the one thing I think people don't understand sometimes. I know sometimes I'm confrontational, but I also take responsibility for my part in it. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I'm perfect. I would never
No.
say that.
No, and I think I think you're just a very incredibly aware of yourself human being, which I think again is something I admire, I appreciate in you.
Well, I think just seeing your growth, like I've actually been watching a lot of your interviews and your podcasts and stuff.
Mm,
And it was interesting because I didn't know you before Drag Race, right? But
yeah,
we'll be completely honest. Hannah and I
yeah,
did have a bit of a bump in the road for a second there, but we
yeah,
went on
yeah.
Drag Race and we said to each other, we're just going to do this show. But we've grown. Would you say we've come leaps and bounds?
Coops, we have like just, I think it's developed into a friendship that's even deeper than the one we had. I think we were very deep already, but I think it just means more in a different way now.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's many times I've had conflicts with people and I've had situations, and it does it because you discover something about each other that you didn't know that you normally wouldn't express. Because
Yeah.
I do believe we walk around the world and never truly say what we truly think of someone. You could
Hmm.
think all these things in your head and go, oh, I adore this person. But do you actually ever tell them what they mean to you? Because it almost seems silly,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
No, it does, 100%. And it feels like, especially in the world that we live in today, you say things that, like, I don't think people are programmed much anymore to be able to take on those things and to say nice things to each other. I think in our industry, especially sometimes, like, it's not us as queens, but like the drag race fandom has become, we're so quick to point out the negatives that sometimes we forget to just celebrate and say the just a small like I appreciate this in you, you know?
And when you do that, people actually don't know how to respond because I don't think they're
Yeah.
used
And
to
they go,
it.
it's like, yeah, it's like it's a glitch in the mainframe. They're like, oh my God. And I
It's
think that's
weird, isn't it?
Australian as well, don't you think?
Yeah, and I think we're very tall poppy in our country, so we find it very hard to celebrate other people's success. And I think that's
Mm.
just innately within it. We all know the tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah, it's so true that, and I find that I have found because I there was a period of my life when doing drag as well when you see other people getting opportunities and things and yeah yeah I feel like you get like I get envious or whatever and I think it's a natural thing to feel that but it's how you process that and well even if you got to think about even if you should put it out in the world
You just
because
reminded me what I was going to
oh
say.
yeah yeah
Yeah, it was that thing of when another drag queen has it, and drag queens are really terrible at this in
yeah
general. If
yeah
somebody has success, they don't celebrate that person's success. They go, why isn't it me? And it's
yes
exactly what you're talking about. And
yeah.
I think as because I am of an age, I've been
Mm.
around a long time. And I have had a very blessed drag career. So I find it very easy because of the life I've had to celebrate other drag queens.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's a privilege I've got, which a lot
yeah,
don't, because a lot aren't successful.
yeah. And
Sorry, I'm joking.
no, but no, but it's true because it is hard when you see things and you do become envious. And I think I've had points where I've got, oh, I really wish that was happening for me, and I got jealous and I would pull away from things. But now I find actually trying to find the joy in celebrating the successes of others. It's so much easier once you start flipping the switch, and it makes life more enjoyable.
I agree. And you know what was something I thought was really beautiful that you said to me when you came back from Drag Race UK and you've had all that success and you've achieved your dream. And then you had this like aha moment was, oh, actually, what I miss most are my friends and my family are most important to me. Even though, and of course, career and your life. And I've had this similar thing sort of in a different kind of way but just on you at the moment, I really loved when you said, I just want to nurture my family, my friends, and my relationship. That's more
Mhm.
important to me because that's going to last forever.
Yeah. What's the point of doing any of this if we don't have people to share it with?
Oh, and I just thought that was such a beautiful
Mm.
moment. From a little bit from my perspective, was,
Mm.
I worked all those years before COVID and work was like my identity. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And
Yeah,
I
because you're
loved
a
it. Don't get,
workhorse.
I am a work
Yeah.
and I love to work, right?
Yeah.
But in saying that, what I did, I neglected the other parts. It wasn't balanced. So
Yeah.
when COVID happened and I lost everything, I had no sense of self. And
Yeah,
speaking
that's
about lost,
fascinating.
I lost something, work, my identity, which was working a lot, and then I had to refine because myself, especially doing the show and all of that. That was just a small part of it, part of my mental health struggle. But
Mm.
all these things were a big lesson for me and I learnt to validate myself and
Yeah.
be comfortable. and discovering myself as the person who I think I am.
Yeah. And the person you are today, because I think as well, we both like will work it all the time and you get lost in that. It becomes your identity and this, and without that, you have to reassess. And I think, but you've done a lot of growing as a human being in that period as well. So you had then now rediscovering the person that you are now with all the lessons you've learned to the things that you've been through in this new space. And then adding on the layers of being on a reality TV show, having the world look at you like this.
At the time, going through what I went through, because I was very polarizing on that show, and other people love the people. I think generally, I would say it's a very small population, but it's the trolls, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't. And unfortunately, we're not built for that kind of thing. We're not as much as you think. Oh yeah, I'll be fine. But just what some people will say, you're
I
like,
know.
wow. But
Brazen.
really, they're the toxic person, not us. Like
Yeah.
I had a reason to behave the way I behaved, what I was going through in my life, and that's my journey, and I own that. And it's
Mm.
not your place to speculate or project.
No.
And I
Yeah.
learned that through therapy. And that's, I wish every drag queen that does Drag Race, whenever they see a comment, allow them to have their opinion, but validate your own and know who you are. But that's difficult.
It's a skill. That's a muscle that we have to work out. I'm still
And
working on it.
I was just about to ask you, how is your muscle with dealing with that?
It's so much better than it was. Like now I
Yeah.
don't put value in it. I find like the second that I realize it's not real, that doesn't translate into real world with people in face to face. It never translates. Things that people say to us online, I don't think it really has ever, apart from that sort of meet and greet situation that I had earlier in the tour, that is the only time I've really experienced it in person. But other than that, no one's coming up and saying anything to us.
No. Oh,
You
generally
know,
people come up and say, oh, I loved you on the
I
show, I
love
love the
you.
drama.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't. You give them drama, they go, oh, horrible. And then
Oh,
we don't give them drama. Oh, you're boring. Well, what do you
uh,
want?
I know. But I'm glad, as much as I wish my journey on that show was different, but I think it was a lesson I needed to learn about myself. So I'm grateful. And as I've said before, I've won, even though I didn't win I've won to be who I am today and to sit here in
Yeah.
front of you like the way I
And
am.
that's a prize. That's
Oh,
a
yeah,
really beautiful
100%.
prize.
I never would have
You,
learned that if I hadn't done the show.
because that's the thing. I think was there any moment that you kind of felt like you regretted doing the show?
Yes, when I finished filming, actually the whole time up until the reunion aired, because there were almost so many layers to it, okay?
Mm,
I came back and I did not want to do drag. I thought
mm.
I'd lost I didn't want to perform anymore. I had no passion for it. And I love drag and I love to
Yeah.
perform. Like
Yeah.
I love it. I will do it for
Yeah.
free because I love it so
Yeah.
much. Well,
Yeah.
before Drag Race. And then I
Yeah.
came back and just putting makeup on, torture. I would say, that's depression, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, not only had I lost my passion for drag, then I was called by trolls a drag terrorist. Hearing that about yourself is pretty, especially when
Yeah.
you're already low self-esteem state. Then through therapy, what the therapist said, what's the thing that you love the most? And I said, I love to teach. And he said, well, you need to focus on that. And I did that. And during that time, I was doing a musical at one of the schools I was teaching. And we'd done the musical, and one of the boys came up to me and said, oh, thank you, Aaron. I never felt like I had a place to fit in. And that's what I love.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know I had that gift to give to young kids because I did a musical chorus line, and the girl in chorus line that says she's not pretty enough, she
Yeah.
was that kid, and I built
Oh,
her
bless her.
self-esteem, and her parent wrote to me and said we need more teachers like you, and it's a big part of who I am, like a large part.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah,
at
because I
you
don't think
crying. You're
I know
so...
I'm getting emotional. I went and saw the play The Inheritance.
Oh, okay, so you're emotional.
I'm on a roller coaster tonight, bitch. But that's the one thing that I think, I don't think many people knows that you teach dance to kids and you have done for years and you've been a
Oh, 20
choreographer
years, 20 odd
and
years.
then you mentor as well drag artists. But like I want to know more about like the teaching side because I don't think people know that side about you. What is that for you? What do you get from that?
Well, sometimes it can be quite thankless, right?
Yeah.
Because what you're doing, you're getting all these kids, and they're primarily choreographed and direct musicals. So you're getting all these kids for one goal to put on a show and be the best version of they can. And it's
Mm.
funny, all artists think like this. They always compare themselves to others. And of
Mm.
course, you have all these different levels. You have some good dancers, you'll have some good singers. There was this little boy, Daniel, right? He turned up for a chorus line, and I had 9 boys, 8 of them had never danced before. And there was this one boy, Daniel, I think definitely on the spectrum.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh, he's not going to last for 2 weeks. But he came back the 3rd week. And I said, Daniel, we're going to have a deal. I'm going to teach you to be the best version of you can. You're going to work the hardest that you can. He goes, okay. He goes, but sir, I can't do a pencil turn. Sir, should have madam. Thank you. And he said he couldn't do a pencil turn. And I said, well, if you keep working at it, you might. Then a couple of weeks later, he goes, oh, Aaron, that's my name. He goes, I did a pencil turn today. And I said, you know what? Next week, you might be able to do 2. Then a friend of mine, Deb Kryzak, who played Sheila in a chorus show, came to mentor the kids, and they were like, oh my God, that's amazing. I said to the kids, now your parents aren't expecting to see a professional standard of the show. You know that, Daniel. You go, oh, yes, they are, sir. And I said, no, Daniel, your parents are going to come see you do things they never ever thought you could. And he goes, thank you so much, sir. That means the world to me. So it's just things like that.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of things like that. It's a gift to be able to look at someone and they think, oh, I'm never going to be able to do this. But you just stand there and you go, no, just be the best you can be. That's all I ask. If you work, I don't care how. You know what, to be perfectly honest, people go, oh, Minnie, you're so talented. I'm only talented because I've worked hard. Do you know what I mean? I was not the most talented person, but I've just worked at it.
I think it's so true, though. And you pass on, like, I don't know if you feel this as a teacher, but you're passing on these lessons, and they might be the smallest thing, but the lasting impression you have on someone
Oh,
is that, like, that's beautiful.
Oh, it's the biggest gift in the world. Like the
Yeah.
kids will tell me, and I'm surprised I'm not crying now. Vanity takes the piss out of me. Whenever you talk about your
Oh.
because it can be thankless, because you can teach all these people and you can help them, and they won't even know that you've helped them, which is okay, because that's something I choose to do.
Yeah.
Like, I love watching people succeed, and working with it. What's my favorite thing? To watch someone else in a show be great.
Be great. Yeah. Yeah. And you you make sure everyone's got that moment to shine with their skills.
Yes, and I love that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know why that I'm like that, but sometimes it's made me probably bitter because people aren't grateful for it. But what I lesson learned is that if I choose to do that, that's my choice. They do not owe me anything in return.
Yeah, that's fascinating, because it is such a thankless thing, but
Oh,
it's a certain people like yourself that are able to do that. I wonder as well. I was thinking you were talking about, like, obviously being around kids. Do you find that people sometimes forget that we were children as well?
Oh, we forget.
Yeah.
We forget. And we also forget our parents were children.
Yeah.
We also forget our parents struggle and have struggles, because we look at the parent as they are a carer. So everything we believe they is right. Like, and then you suddenly, as you get older, or when you're my age, you realize, oh, they've actually struggled.
Yeah.
And probably passed on. We're carrying
yeah. Yeah. I know, because I think controversial yet brave, don't come for me, people, but I smoke. And my dad was a smoker when I was growing up. And I said, I'm never going to be like my dad smoking, not the vape. But it's so, like, I said, I'm never going to be like my dad smoking. I'll never do it. And here I am. I'm like a smoker. And I was like, wow, this is so weird. But it was those moments that you go, oh my God, my parents were kids too. And they were just trying to do the best that they could with what they knew.
Can I ask you a question? How old were your parents when they had you? Do you know?
Early 20s.
So can you imagine having a kid?
I know. I'm 30. I'm 33 now, and I'm like, I don't want to fuck a child. I can't do it.
It spins me out. There's this great thing that I've seen on TikTok and Instagram where you give a book to your parents and they ask us, and what was the first year of pregnancy like? What's something that you've never told me?
Yeah.
And all those kind of questions that you never actually ask your parents.
Yeah, but then, like, and that's the thing, like, my parents are very open-minded and very, like, what do I call them, new age, I call my parents. So we're a very open family, but it wasn't until we didn't achieve that until later in life.
Achieve that?
Achieve that. Sorry, it's my lips. But yeah, we didn't achieve that as a family until, like, we were all kind of older. And then you start, like, it was just realizing, I had this day where I just realized my parents are just people as well. It's the weirdest feeling to go, Oh, they've probably done illegal things. They've probably done naughty things. They've probably done all these things. You know what I mean? Like you start realizing, I think as well, I'd like to tie it all together. I think the magic of drag as well gives us a little bit more insight because of having that inner child still alive because we can play.
Can I just say, it's so funny you just say that because drag to me has always been since I was a little kid. Like I used to
Yeah,
watch those Hollywood movies and dream about being those women. It is childlike. Like
yeah.
me doing Let It Go at 52 years old is so childlike. But people buy it and but we believe it. There's something in it that I don't know. I'm glad I have it, and I'm glad and
Yeah.
just to get back what I said before losing
Here you
my
go.
performance and passion. I've regained that in a different kind of way, and I'm glad I've gotten that back. This is what I learned about you through watching your interviews and stuff. Because you remember when you rang you when you were, I was having my meltdown.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, but
Yeah.
then I realised you were going through your own stuff as well, and it's
Mm.
very hard when you're in that place yourself to cope with someone else that's in a
Oh,
totally same
oh,
place.
but it's also it made me feel less alone, to be honest.
Oh
Like, and I
wow, well,
value
that's
that. Yeah,
interesting. That's
yeah,
interesting to say.
yeah.
And,
Because
and I
you,
have to say, watching your interviews, I got the same out of watching that.
mm,
You're going through that. It's hard to communicate because you don't want to burden people, really.
yeah, yeah. I think that's the thing. I'm learning as well is that I think people would rather us be a burden than suffer in silence.
You know what you've learned as well is to speak your truth now and not pretend to say what people think.
Yeah,
Would you think you
yeah.
would have said that before? Do you? And that's your perfectionism.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, and I know that about you
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
something I've learned over time and watching stuff of yours, your perfectionism, which would drive you into a corner and you get stuck. Mine's shame. Do you know
That's
what I mean?
interesting,
Oh
isn't
yeah,
it?
mine is shame. Like I will say things because I'm shameful of it. That's not the truth, and then I've got myself into a corner and I can't get out.
And then you feel locked in that room, and you're like, do you spiral?
I don't spiral, but it's almost like I'm lying to myself. That's what shame is to me. It's like
Yeah,
you start to lie because you're shameful of all your inner truth.
yeah. Do you
Do
feel like
you,
it
do you
started?
think that's shame as well? What you're talking about with it
Yeah, I think there's an element of that. I feel like there's shame of like, because I could do like, I sometimes look at people and I see like bad behavior and I see things that are just, I could never imagine doing, yet they go on and live their life as if they've never done, like as if it's not a bad thing and that they've hurt someone or done something bad. And I look at that, I'm like, how do you do that? Because if I did even a skerrick of that, I'm spiraling. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a horrible human. Oh my God. But then I see people walking through the day after they've just gone and shat on someone's parade. And I'm like, how do you do that? How?
Well, because I think the same as you, Hannah. Really like people's behaviour, but also too, getting back to the thing of not speaking up. You don't really call them out because
No.
we're
Yeah.
taught into better not say anything,
Yeah. Yeah. Keep
or you
quiet.
don't say anything because you don't want to get caught up in that energy of that drama as well.
Mm,
Because causing conflict, if you do speak up, I don't know,
yeah.
is that once you involve yourself, you become part of the problem. Even though
Yeah.
you're calling them out, you become part of the problem.
Yeah.
Don't you
But
think?
yeah,
You
well,
think so
yes,
too?
absolutely. But I also think like in not talking about it, like the basic thing we have as humans is communication in some form and
Yes.
whatever form it is. And when there are problems, the best thing to do is communicate. I think we've lost the ability to talk
Yeah,
sometimes because
I
I
agree.
think, like and I know I struggle with communication when I have an issue, but I'm forcing myself when I feel like that I would rather solve it quicker than let it fester because the more it festers, the worse it gets.
I agree 100%.
Mm.
And how are you going with expressing yourself like that? So if you have a problem bringing up sooner rather than later, but sometimes you've got to pick
Yeah.
your battles too.
Oh, 100%. It's not for everything. Like,
Yeah.
if something is minuscule or minor, I will assess it and go, is this worth my time?
Yes.
Is it worth it? Is it worth my energy? Sometimes it's not. If it's like a personal relationship that I care deeply about and is important for me, I give myself a moment to think about what I want to say. Because I find I get used to get tongue tied when I got like scared or nervous. So I now take just a minute to just sit with what I want to say, think about it, and I always try to process it and communicate calmly as best as I can. Sometimes there's fire, sometimes there's passion, which you can't avoid.
Oh, I don't know anything about that. Well, as you know about me, I'm a reactive person.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very reactive, and
Mm,
that's something I've had to work on, is that when I feel reactive, to go and do, like, you process it, think it through and calmly and go, okay, what's actually happened? What are the bullet points? I don't know where that comes. I think it does come from family. Do you know
mm,
what I mean? And not having a voice as a child. And my parents used to argue. And I think
mm.
my family is very reactive family. I think that's where I get it from.
Yeah, probably.
Because I can see red like in a second. And
Yeah,
I don't like that about myself. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? It's something that happens and I regret it immediately.
Not everybody's reactions to things or whatever are ideally how we would like it to be. But I've definitely learned, especially with the situation that happened with us and coming to Drag Race. And like I said to you, I've taken people where they are and where
Mm,
they're at. I know when someone's being malicious and trying to be hurtful. And I also am aware that some people, their feelings and things and certain ways that they react are just circumstantial of that time and that
mm,
situation. And giving people the grace to just be human because I
yeah.
want that grace.
Yes.
You
That's
know,
fair.
what they say, treat others how you want to be treated. And I would appreciate courtesy in my weaker moments. And
Mm,
so I grant that to others,
mm,
and I think that was the big thing for you and me is that I didn't matter what mattered was my friendship with you. And
yeah, yeah.
that never changed ever.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
love that.
and I knew we'd always get back together at some point. It's a fascinating world, reality TV competitions. Where does the competition start and end? And where does the reality TV start and end? It's
Well,
fascinating. It's a
yeah, I
complex
don't.
study of humanity in a microcosm of its own little creation.
The way I view, maybe I'm wrong, the way I've sort of probably cut. What's the
Mm.
word when you put something together?
Compartmentalized it.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It's quite unique. We put into this pressure cooker, and we
Mm.
become like the 10 of us become a family. And
Yeah.
whatever happens in that, that is the dynamic of the family, and that
Yeah.
doesn't really ever change.
Yeah.
That is our experience as a group,
Hmm.
and whatever connected in that environment, because we don't really know these people,
Yeah.
like, except for you and I. Who else?
Yeah.
Because I didn't really know, like, as much as I knew Fo and Pamara socially, I didn't know
I
them.
didn't know them. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
didn't know me. They think they knew me. Like, if
Yeah.
Pamara and
They,
I've discussed this. Think you know someone, but you actually don't.
Yeah, no. And you don't know someone like we all know each other. Again, we know each other well. We've spent time together. We've traveled together, so we've been in the same space, so we get
Yeah,
each other.
we
But
actually
like,
knew each other.
yeah, but then when you get others and then you're put in this position where you're all there together and each of us are our only lifelines in that space because you don't have any contact with anyone else.
Anybody else? That's right.
Weird.
It's bloody weird. And I like,
Weird.
and the thing that what I'm also very compassionate in now when I watch these shows,
Mm.
that people can, oh, they don't like the way that you have no idea what
Yeah.
has happened in their mental state within that group.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
really unique to them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I
Isn't that
always
fair?
watch 100%. Like that's why I always just watch like when I watch the shows now, you're reacting like this and yeah, I might not like this behavior, but like you're going through the thing you're going through.
Yeah, because who was it last week on Down Under when Brenda thought she was going to be in the bottom for the design challenge, right? And she was having that meltdown, not speaking to her
Mm.
family. I thought, oh, it's getting to episode 4. That's because that's about when the kookiness started, wasn't it? Would
Yeah.
you say?
Yeah.
I thought
When
there it is. Everyone's breaking. She's
yeah,
losing
yeah.
her. She doesn't have that support, so
Yeah.
she's going cooked. And she's probably
And you
not like
start
that in real life.
No, not at all. Like and you start losing time and you start losing like you don't know what's going on. And when you're in the workroom like sometimes you walk in and it's like morning and it's daylight and then you walk out and it's dark and you're like where is it all gone like
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you how long our days were, to be honest.
they were I think there was one day that was about 14 hours I think.
What was our first day of the design challenge?
Yeah,
Because
oh
we
that was a
started.
long day.
How long did we get to make our outfits? Do you know?
We had a
What time
night.
did we actually start? I couldn't even tell you what time we
Yeah,
started
so
making.
I think from what my memory so we got there in the morning, so I was
Yeah.
up at like 5 in the morning getting ready. I think we
Yes.
all were. Then we
Yes.
did the walk in, then we did the photo shoot with the hot dogs.
Yes.
Then we might have had lunch, and then they put all the rubbish in the pile.
Yeah. What time would have that been?
That would have probably been like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right. Okay. So we had
And
like 12 hours then.
yeah, and then we didn't leave the studio, remember, until like three or
Three.
four in the morning, 3 in the
Yeah. Yeah.
morning. Yeah. And then we were back at 6 the next day.
Was it that early?
6 or 7 the next day. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Oh my God, I can't believe it took me 12 hours to make that outfit. That was all.
I love it. I love it. Minnie Cooper, stapler in a dream.
Well, I don't think I've ever told you. Do you know I took a sewing machine with me to New Zealand?
What do you mean you packed one?
Yeah, I packed it in because I had a box. I took it so because I was sewing because I had nothing else to do. We were in
Oh, yeah,
lockdown
in
for
that
2 months,
quarantine.
2 weeks. So I was like sewing in my room. I made
I
the
could
same
just.
dress 7 times.
Did you wear them?
No, I gave them to the minders.
Oh, cute.
Hideous fabrics, but here you go.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You have
And
a
every dress
dress?
I made was a different size.
Oh,
I
real? Oh, that's Minnie Cooper, fashion designer.
was only one design.
Oh, same. Coops and I, we share a same seamstress, Kirsten Damned. Did she give you a pattern?
No, you know what I did? You know my 60s dress from Models?
Oh, yes.
I drew that off and copied that. Because
Yeah.
no matter what I was going to do, my look was going to be 60s. I knew I was
Yeah.
wearing that hair because I did it for my audition. I knew that's what I was going to do. And
Oh, yeah. Could you show me? You made that out of cards, didn't you? Your
yeah,
edition.
and that's why I knew I could staple it
Yes.
together.
Brilliant.
So,
Genius.
and because because I went to sew that freezer bag and it was ripping in the machine, I was like, oh,
Mm.
I'll just staple it together. And I did my dress for like within 2 hours once I knew
Yeah,
what I was doing.
I
But,
remember that.
but trying to work out what to do, that's
That's
what
a hard part.
I had straws, I was sewing straws, and I was, oh, that's not going to work.
But my favorite was, every time we'd walk in after you'd left, I'd look up at the roof and I'd see the material that you used to make your dress lining the lining the roof of our tin shed studio. I'm like, Minnie's with us.
I do
Mama
love
Minnie
that
is here.
I do love that I was mentioned in every episode. I do love that.
Yeah.
No matter
Oh,
what we do.
I have to ask though, do you think you'd go back?
Yes, actually, you know what's funny? I say yes, but then I watch challenges and stuff, and then I get this like fear, like
Mm,
I don't know if I could sit there and it's weird. It's like I have a blockage.
mm,
I would love to go back to see if I can do it
yeah.
and
I
have
think,
with a different mindset. But I also am very different. We wouldn't be in lockdown for all that
yeah,
time.
yeah, you'd
I'm
go in
in
and do
just
it.
I'm just in such a different headspace, but then I get scared. If I went back, would I just turn into what I was before?
I don't think you would. I think you've done too much work on yourself and you've made so much ground. I don't think you would revert back to that place.
Yeah, and that's what I would hope, and I would
Yeah.
love to do it again purely for myself, just to see if I can do it. It's weird.
Yeah. Because I would love to see it. I'm not going to lie. I'd love to see you back in there.
Oh, I think I'm hilarious.
You are. And that's the thing. I was actually watching what's her name? Mira Mangle. Have you watched her
Oh
videos?
yeah,
Mira
love her.
Mangle.
Yeah.
Love it. They were doing a list of who they'd love to see back and their pick was you. And I
Oh
was like,
wow.
fuck yeah. We need a Minnie Cooper renaissance. We need her back in the
Yeah.
workroom.
Well, there better be soon. I'm not getting any younger.
No, I know. You're gonna but your
Like,
talent's only getting richer.
oh, but talent is the only decent thing Jennifer Lopez has ever said is talent ain't ageist.
That is true. You can't fake talent.
Yeah.
And it doesn't depart you.
No, 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 it
Yeah. And
doesn't.
what are Frankie Valli, they're still pushing him out.
Are
He's
they really?
94. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
have you not seen the videos?
No, no.
Oh, you should have a look. He is like, it's like they've just pumped a corpse with like an inflatable skeleton and they've just walked him out and he just goes like this. And he doesn't really sing either, but they're still flogging that bastard. It's never ending for you. Age is but a number.
I know. I'm surprised I can still tap dance the way I do. Like, I'm 52.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised that I can still. But there's certain things that I can't do anymore.
What,
But I'm
like the
okay with that.
splits?
I've never been able to do the splits. I just
Can you?
no. I always said I had a dance career, never did the splits.
Ah,
Actually, here's a quick funny story. Because I can't acrobat or anything or cartwheel, but I was auditioning for a show called Showboat. So I practiced to try and do a cartwheel because I knew I had to do it for the audition. Could never do a cartwheel. Did the audition, did the cartwheel in the audition, never did it again, and I got the job. Always so badly.
So, do you find that that's a common thing? Because you've done a lot of musical theatre as well. Do you find that when you audition for stuff, there's things that they ask you to do that for a character that you never end up doing when you get the role? Is that a common thing?
Not that I can remember, because normally they give you, if there's specific things, they'll make people do, because they're after, as long as you can do that specific thing they're after,
Mm,
That's why I work, because I don't think I would work in musical theatre. The standard is so incredibly high. But all the shows I did, I had the skill set.
yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But I was never going to do Cats. I always did sort of well in those auditions, but fundamentally, I didn't really have the technique.
It was, yeah. And what, and
And,
it
I
would
was,
that be a music? Well, Cats. Well, would you want to do Cats?
oh, at the
You could
time,
do Grisabella now.
I thought I liked you. Our friendship was going so well.
I love Grisabella.
I
She's
know.
like,
Oh, I'm up for anything. Actually, you know what Dan wants us to do at the next Club Broadway, Hannah? Our bosom
what?
buddies.
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I'm
every
down.
day,
Lock
though.
that in. Because you know how they have like certain roles now that in musicals, that like they call them probably stunt casting, but they're a fabulous role, which is perfect for drag and perfect for us. What role would you want to do?
There was a musical the first musical I ever did was Hot Shoe Shuffle. And the
Hmm.
story of the show is that David Atkins, who's short, and their seven tap brothers have to teach Rhonda Birchmore, April, this number and put
Hmm.
her in the group to inherit money. But they find out in the end that April is actually their sister, that they're twins. I want to
Oh.
play Rhonda Birchmore's role, and at the end they go, "Oh, she's actually your brother."
Ah, twist! Yes, it's like Tu Wong Fu, Priscilla Queen of the Desert meets Hot Shoe Shuffle.
Yes, that's like something I've had or what I've wanted to do, but it's never come to. But I have these ideas, and I always just think,
Yeah.
"Oh, one day." But it's
Need
hard
to
to
get like,
self-produce. All those
yeah,
stuff, all the stuff I've done that I've been successful at, I've produced myself. No one's
yeah.
given it to me, and then people go, "Oh, you've done all these amazing things."
That's the thing. Like, it's about the hustle these days, especially after like you think you're gonna get all these things, but then it's you got to hustle yourself. You got to sell yourself. I've been really wanting to. I would now like to play Madame Morrible in Wicked.
Oh, I could see it. Actually, yeah, I could see you play. Where could I see you in? Actually, I actually could see you play Tracy Turnblad in Hairspray.
Oh, that would be camp.
Could
I
you
could
do
see
that?
that.
Would you want to do
Yeah, I
that?
could do that. And I'm a plus size girly now.
What would you
Um,
be your okay? I've given you mine. What would your ideal? Oh, is it Madame Marble from Wicked?
Madame Morrible, I'd love. I think
Marble
I've
is that
just
her name?
started, yeah, really like, because I know it's usually played by like an older woman, but like in the movie, there's that role just says drag to me as well.
Yes.
And I could see myself. I don't know what it was. I was like, I want to do that. So that's one
Actually,
of my goals.
I could see you playing Miss Hannigan and Annie.
Oh, I could see that too.
What
These little
else?
children. Because I've been looking at the Vivian and how well she's doing, like being like the Wicked Witch in The
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz, and then now the child catcher in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh, would
Like,
you really want to play the child catcher though?
I know it's like all the logistics of that these days. But hey, you know what? It's a brilliant role though. Scary. She
Actually,
plays it so scary.
you know the story, oh, what is it? How to Marry a Millionaire with
Oh
Marilyn,
yes.
but do that
Yeah.
as drag queens doing those roles.
That would be
But,
incredible.
oh, you could play Dolly Levi and Hello Dolly.
Oh, I'd love that. I'd love that. That would be very good.
That's something I could see you do, like with bells on. Because you know that has
Yeah.
been done by Danny LaRue. Did you know that?
Yes, yes, I did know that.
Yeah.
I love Danny LaRue.
Yeah, me too.
I wish yeah, I'm hoping for a resurgence of like beautiful classic drag again. Like I do love and appreciate all the different facets of it, but I feel like sometimes kids these days that watch Drag Race, they just see like the dancing little queen that does this one. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I
Well,
miss the days of that individuality.
it's funny that you say that, but you know what's given me hope is what has been watching UK and Australia.
Yeah, the
They-
diversity of
They're,
that.
they're people that they knew, because I think Drag Race people know now they're not going to get fame out of it.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? So people
yeah.
that go on to drag now do drag, well, especially these groups, I believe, because they
Mm.
actually
I
love.
should love it. Yeah. And they've all got their own individual essence of what drag is, which we haven't seen for a long time.
A long, long, long time, and I love it.
Who are you loving in the UK?
Who do I love? I love Marmalade.
Um,
I actually love the top four, actually.
yeah, they're incredible, all four of
And
them.
I've actually loved the cast. It's thoroughly entertaining.
Chanel O'Connor,
I
just
love her.
she's camp. I've loved everything. Oh, and Lil, and Lil.
Love her.
I want to get. I've met Lil a couple of times,
Have you?
and I love her. I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
Like even in the roast when she went on, it's like her stuff up was just the most endearing. She's just
Endearing.
so endearing, isn't she?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the same thing for the Down Under cast. Like I'm loving Vibe and Lazy Susan.
Yes,
I think Brenda's been fabulous. Actually,
yes.
they've all been really good and they're
Oh,
bringing interesting conversations and stuff. There's no one doing bad.
yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I think the one thing that I think they're missing in that cast, if I'm honest, is like a matriarch. So someone like yourself, or someone like Bumper, someone like
Well, don't you think Vibe is sort of that?
Vibe is, yes, I will say that Vibe does feel that, but I would love to see someone a little bit older that has been in the community longer just to share that perspective. Ageism,
Yeah.
what are we going to do about it?
But in saying that, I think that was part of why there was conflict in our cast. Talking about parents and stuff, because I
Mm,
through my therapy and stuff, I
mm,
said, well, what I was saying, I said, I can't understand why they can't see I have feelings. And the
mm.
therapist said, because they see you like a parent. You know what I mean? Because you're
Yeah,
Minnie Cooper, they think that you don't have feelings because you know what I mean, because of the life you've had. But it's weird. And she was, you are, and I was actually like the parent. The
yeah,
parent
it's
that
very interesting, isn't it?
do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah, yeah, I see that. Because then, like,
Yeah.
they, and
Not
there's a,
everyone, but like
no,
just
and I think
as
there's
a
like
general
elements
thing.
of us that, like, you go, you want to kind of impress. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mummy, look at me, I'm showing off, and then,
And that was something else I said in therapy. So I don't understand why my opinion has such effect on people. And actually because it means something to them.
yeah, yeah, whether they like it to admit it or not. Yeah,
It means something to because
yeah,
if other people say things to like they would say things to me and I was
yeah,
like, oh, okay. But
yeah,
it's different, but it's got to mean but if you said something to me, it would mean something to me.
yeah, yeah,
You know, if
yeah,
Kong said something to me, it would mean something to me.
yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it, how our
So,
brains work?
but we don't think that. I think that's an afterthought thing.
Yeah,
We didn't think
yeah,
that you're
the
thinking that at the
hindsight of it
time.
all.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. And who knows why we feel things on a dynamic and in a time. Do you know what I mean?
mm.
Because you don't. I don't think a lot of people are self-aware either.
No, well, that's another thing. I think some people could stand to be more self-aware. That's for sure. Especially when we put it's like not to like ever shit on anyone's parade or whatever, but I do think that people like I would encourage people to actually do some deep self-searching sometimes. I think that's an important thing to do. I'd encourage that. Like, we've both done that and like we've both done a lot of therapy and a lot of work. And I think, if you're feeling some stuff and you're wondering why things aren't working in your life, go do some therapy. I think you'll
Oh,
be surprised at what you uncover.
I'm so grateful and I adore you deeply, and I always
Oh,
have. You know,
yeah.
when I was, remember when I read the old Kikaluka? I
Yeah,
adore you, man.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
I love
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
The
so
feeling
sorry.
is
Oh.
incredibly mutual. And I'll tell you, because you're the first, like, where I remember when we had that chat at that Divas, and you taught me one lesson that I've continued to carry every single part of like, every single journey of my life now is you always got to ask and see what you can get and ask the questions because all you can get is a no. And what's a no? It just means it's not for you
And just respect it. Do you know
and
what I mean?
respect
Ask
it.
for what you want, but respect the answer.
Yeah.
Best lesson I've ever learned.
Yep.
I pass
And
that on
so
to everyone, actually.
it's one of the best lessons that I have ever received in my life. And it came from you at a DIVA Awards when we were all drunk and, and celebrating. Yeah. And from then on, when I moved to Sydney, then, getting to do the shows with you and Vanity, there's such joyful moments in my life. And actually like big career highlights for me.
Oh, it's so for the Broken Hill.
Broken Hill. That was a good one. Oh my God, we got to tell the people. Tell them, Minnie, tell the
I
people what happened
know.
in the Broken. We won't go into all the specifics, but we just got to say about the show.
I know. Okay, so Hannah and Vanity and I get booked for Broken Hill. We go to Broken Hill. We are like probably 20 minutes, 15 minutes out from the venue where
From the
we're meant to
venue.
perform.
Yeah,
We
in
turn up.
sharing one room.
One room!
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely! I forgot about that! Yes!
Two single
So
beds and a double bed.
yeah, so we turn up to do our. Did we do a rehearsal? No, we didn't on the
No, we
stage.
just rocked up.
We rocked up and we turn up and we have a dressing room and it had been raining and all the other queens were staying at the actual hotel where Priscilla was filmed. We turned up with our bags and a dressing room with a puddle in it, so we couldn't get
No
changed.
light, no
No
mirror.
lights. So we ended up getting changed outside. Long story short, we're doing our model show and we had these cords and stuff. I decided Vanity went a little further than normal. I jumped over, sprained my ankle, broke my heel, and broken heel. That's the long and the
Yeah,
short of it.
yeah, and then but my favorite was there's a photo of Minnie lying down in the other queen's dressing room on the floor, and while we're waiting for the ambulance to come, then Vanity and I go to the hospital in our drag faces, but out of drag, and Minnie's in full drag in an ambulance. We get to the hospital.
And
And
do they give
Minnie,
you morphine? Do they give you morphine?
yeah,
Is that
they
what they
gave
do?
you the green stick, the morphine stick.
Oh, having
And
the best one.
Vanity and I sitting in the waiting room waiting, and Vanity's hungry, and she sees some half-eaten sandwich that someone had left on a chair. So she's eating the sandwich while we're waiting. Then we see you wheel in, and you look dead. Like you looked dead. Like you were, it looked like you had died. And so Vanity's like, oh, I've killed her. I've killed her. And then we just realized you were so out of it on the
Oh,
morphine stick
oh,
in
oh,
full drag.
oh,
And
oh.
they had to cut your stockings open so that they could cast your leg because they weren't sure if it was broken or not.
Oh,
Oh my God.
oh,
And then we had to like it was so honestly, we just
oh,
ended up spending the rest of the time. You were high as a kite on the drugs
oh,
that
I
they gave
loved it.
you.
It's
And
great.
we were just laughing. It was
Oh,
one of the most joyful fucking moments.
so funny. Yeah, one of many.
I just want to say, Minnie Cooper, from on behalf of myself and the loyal listeners of What's Lost Got to Do with It and the drag fandom, we love you. We salute
Love
you.
you.
And
What has lost has now been found.
yeah, our friendship is reunited. Minnie Cooper has found her sanity and
Oh, no, you're
ish,
exhausted.
ish. But you're an absolute superstar, Minnie. And so the kids, we make sure you go and follow Minnie on at the Minnie Cooper on all of the socials.
Yeah, TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram, and X.
Any shows that you want to promo for the
Oh,
coming
I
up?
have a Christmas show coming up at the Emerald Room with a singer. Yeah, Emerald
Ah,
singer. Yeah, and
yeah,
etc. etc. So it's a bit of an odd podge mix, but I
that's
think it's going
cute.
to
I
be
love
great.
that.
I'm excited
Yeah,
for that.
yeah, that'll be incredible. I've just been at the Emerald Room a couple of times. It's a brilliant venue to perform at.
Yeah, can't
Um,
wait.
yeah. So when's that coming up? Christmas. Check,
Yeah,
check.
18th and 22nd of December.
Great. Make sure
Oh,
you go get
18th.
your tickets for that. Yes, go and go and support Minnie and etc. and Erin. If you're in Sydney, it's a brilliant venue, the Emerald Room. But Minnie Cooper, we love you. Thank you for joining me on What's Lost Got to Do with It, and stay fabulous, Queen. Love you. Welcome back to What's Lost Got to Do with It, everyone. That was the incredible Minnie Cooper. It was such a great time having her on. I'm just over the moon, blown away. But I have posted out my usual, anyone looking for advice, and this is a segment we like to call Healing Hands with me, Little Hands. So I've got a few questions. I would like to help you as best as I can with my Reiki Certificate 1 Healing Hands. I'm not meant to do remote healing, but I'm going to try. So here we go. We've got from Zayana. I hope I pronounce that right. How do you overcome pressure put on you by family expectations versus what you really want? I'm going to call you Z. That's a tricky one. It is hard. Fundamentally, the pressures that are put on to you by your family are coming from, and I think Minnie and I touched on this today, that the pressures that come on from your family, they are applying to you because they think that's going to help you succeed or help you in the best way in forging your life and doing the best that you can and achieving the things that you like, because they're only coming from the experiences that they have had. And generally parents and family trying to come at it from, with the best intentions, but sadly sometimes it can be very restricting. And I think it's less about the expectations but more about the potential negatives that come along with when you go against that expectation. And rather than family going, oh yes, that's good, we're here supporting you, they get mad or they go, oh well, why aren't you doing it the way that we want you to do it? And I think that's where the problem comes. And I think you need to give family grace a little bit to come to terms with whatever you're doing in the path that you're taking, and give them a little bit of time to get used to that. And if they fundamentally just don't ever come around to being supportive, well, that's their loss, and you can't stray from what you need to do to be happy and to live a, healthy and successful life. So I encourage you to just follow your path and your goal. Be respectful and understand where your family's coming from, and guide them gently into seeing what you're doing and how you are forging a path for you. So I hope that's helpful. That's a deep one. It's a tricky one, but I think you're just going to remember that family are coming from the lessons that they have learnt in their life, and they just want you the best for you, you know? So yeah, I just try and take them where they're at. I have Felicia, and they say, is it possible to be a drag queen even if we are a girl? Is that allowed or even okay? Absolutely. I want to shut that narrative down that if you are assigned female at birth or you identify as a woman, whatever, drag is for you, and there is a place for you to do drag in all of its forms. You could be, you could be a drag queen, you could be a drag king, you could be a drag artist, whatever it is. Yes, there is a place for you. Yes, you are valid. Yes, you are special. Yes, you're important. And yes, we love it. I love it. I know there's sometimes narrative and a bit of gatekeeping going on with older queens that don't really understand like why a woman would want to do drag. But I love women doing drag because they're celebrating their femininity and their power of what they want to present in drag. And I think that's really exciting and wonderful. And yes, that I fun. Yes, full stop. Period. Point blank. Yes, drag is for everyone, including women and girls. 100%. 10 out of 10. Lock that in. Done. My last question is advice for baby queens from Millie. So, Millie, and to all of my up and coming baby drag fam, I've touched this issue on the pod before. Maxie and I were speaking about it, but I think you got to love the journey, enjoy and embrace the journey. Don't try and aim for a meteoric rise. If it happens, and that's great. But don't aim for that. Just enjoy the ride, because you want to be salivating and sitting in all of the lessons that you're learning, because it just makes you a stronger and better performer. Diversify the portfolio. Don't get stuck in doing one type of drag. Try it all, even if you don't think you're going to like it, or even if you don't think it's for you. Give it a whirl. You've got nothing to lose, and you want to make sure you give every facet of drag a go, because the more diverse of a performer you are, the more hireable you are, the more ability you have to fit into different shows and different casts, and you never know what's going to hit. And it just makes you more eclectic, and it makes drag more exciting. Drag is limited by your own imagination. So enjoy the ride, salivate in it, have fun with it. Keep diversifying. Don't go into the industry thinking that you want to be famous or you want to be paid and you want to get on Drag Race. Don't do it for that reason. If that's why you want to do it, reassess, because this industry is hard work. It takes thick skin, and you want to be in it for the long haul. We're looking for a long haul here. We're not looking for a shine bright, quick burn and out. So enjoy the ride, invest in your drag, have fun. Don't come into it for the wrong reasons. Make sure you're doing it because you want to express something and you got something to say. So that's my advice. But for now, my beautiful friends, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode of What's Lost Got to Do with It. Huge thank you to all of you out there listening. Make sure you're following it and subscribing. Because the more listeners we have, the more joy that goes out into the world. So tell your friends. But we love you. Thank you for tuning in again. And I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.